Welcome to my first YouTube video. I wanted to make this because about 3 weeks ago I quit birth control. It's something I've wanted to do for ages, and I feel like I finally took the leap and did it, which is so strange because so many of us women are on it and it is really normal, and if you're not on it then it's more normal to be on it than to not. All of us being pumped full of hormones is so normal, and knowing your cycle, even knowing that there are 4 phases, is rare, I think. I was on birth control, the pill, for around 3 years, and previously to that I've been on and off it. I've had some struggles with it, different symptoms. The first time I went on birth control, it made me incredibly nauseous. I think I was on it for maybe 6 months, but I was just so nauseous and unhappy for the majority of that time, and I came off it. I started taking it again around 3 years ago, and I've been on it ever since. Then around 4 months ago, I'd say now, I started experiencing really intense anxiety. My depression was sort of rearing its head again. I was just feeling generally very disconnected from myself. Sorry, I'm looking down because I made some notes. And I just felt like I'd been on it for so long, being pumped with all these unnatural hormones, and I really wanted to get back to a place of understanding in my own body and feeling connected, so that, you know, when I felt anxious I could kind of more clearly pinpoint what had caused it, instead of just not understanding my body at all because of all these unnatural hormones from taking birth control. So I stopped taking the pill around 3 weeks ago now, and I'm hoping that my cycle will return to normal pretty fast. But here are a few things that I've been doing to make that happen. The first thing is, I did go to the doctors and was hoping to get some advice from them on how to come off birth control. Is there anything I can do to get my hormones back to normal faster? Is there anything I should be aware of from taking it? They did advise me to finish the pack that I was on, and then have the withdrawal bleed, and then just not continue taking the pill afterwards. So that's what I did. That was sort of the last week in March, and I've been off it ever since. So things that I did after the doctors weren't very helpful, unfortunately. Don't take my word for it, go and see a doctor and maybe they would be more helpful for you, but they weren't very helpful with me. Sorry, doctors. Some things that I've been doing to regulate my hormones in preparation for my first bleed after 3 years, which is really exciting. Some of those things that I've been doing are taking different herbal supplements. So I take ashwagandha, ashwagandha. I take that every single day. I also take magnesium. I also take CBD tablets, and I drink nettle tea every morning. These are just things that I've been doing because they should help regulate my hormones, but also I struggle with really crippling anxiety. I'm not laughing. I struggle with really crippling anxiety. It gets so bad that I feel like I'm dying. So it's a everyday battle to regulate that. The CBD, the nettle tea, the ashwagandha, those 3 things really help. I take the magnesium mostly to help me sleep, which I feel like it works. I did want to mention I tried to take Vitex Agnus Castor. I'm not sure if you've heard of it, but it was recommended to me by a herbalist at a herbarium in my hometown. It is fantastic at regulating your hormones, which I thought would be perfect. You know, I've come off birth control. I'm really excited to get my period back. Unfortunately, it tasted so bad. Sorry, Agnes Castor, you are not for me. I was so ready to do it, but yeah, it was too bad to take first thing in the morning. So if any of you want a free bottle of Vitex Agnes Castor, I only took it twice. It's basically full. If you want it, drop me a comment, it's yours. Yeah, well, for warning, it tastes like ass. Another thing that I like to have on me that helps with anxiety and regulating mood and things is crystals. The one that I have currently is a hematite. This was recommended after I went for a couple of Reiki sessions. It is mainly to repel energy, specifically negative energy. I found it really helpful when going into situations with that I know that lots of people are going to be there. Just helps me to not absorb their energy, if that makes sense. You know, when your partner comes home, or you go and visit your parents or your friend, or you're in any kind of social situation and you can sort of feel their energy, and it, like, I'm quite a sensitive person, so it can get into me and throw me off. So this is really good at repelling energy, specifically negative energy that can just help if you're quite a sensitive person. I have this one on a necklace, but I also have one that I like to keep in my purse just in case of like emergencies when you need a crystal to hold when you're out and about. Something else that I forgot that is in my bag of tricks is this essential oil. It's a roll-on one. It's from Neil's Yard, but you can really have any essential oil. This one has specifically lavender in it. Lavender is meant to be calming, but you do you, whatever works for you. Just good to keep in your bag of tricks for emergencies. So, but it might look a little bit weird, you know, you go in your bag and you just start like huffing essential oils when you're out and about, and sort of like vigorously like rubbing a crystal. But hey, if it keeps me relaxed, I'm gonna do it. I don't care how weird I look. Other things that I've been doing, I have been cycle syncing. If you've heard of cycle syncing, you have probably heard of this book. This is the Cycle Syncing Bible by Alicia Vitti. Alicia Vitti? Sorry if I'm pronouncing your name wrong. This is a really easy to digest book. It gives you all the facts that you need to know. It gives you a whole overview of what cycle syncing is and how to do it. I picked mine up off Vinted. It was literally £2 because somebody had already read it. So you can get it really cheap if you want it. So, fantastic book. I would definitely recommend you reading this. There's a lot of free stuff online if you don't want to buy the book too. It's really helpful. I use that as a basis to create my own little book. I just find it easier to digest in this form. I'm a very visual person, so having a cute picture really helps me to remember. And also, you know, going through the process of like rewriting out the information and drawing little pictures just gets it sort of ingrained into your long-term memory. Here's a quick overview of the book. I will insert some better pictures, but I just did a different page for each of the 4 phases and then wrote out what your hormones are doing in each phase that you need to be aware of. I really like to go to the gym and stay active, so I've written a little box on movement, you know, what's good to do, what you should potentially avoid, different things to focus on in each phase. You know, some phases are really good for smashing your to-do list, getting all of those jobs done. Other phases are good for like resting, you know, like the menstrual phase. You need to be resting if possible and not doing high intensity workouts and potentially not seeing as many friends. You know, it's all up for interpretation, but it's just good points to have it's just good. What else? I've also written about discharge. That's a fantastic way of tracking which phase you're in depending on how your discharge is looking, although I did call it ooze in my book because I think the word discharge needs to be like discharge is out, ooze is in. Enough said. It's just a gross word. Lastly, I painted some food groups and some foods that it's good to focus on, and then did a little breakdown of the macronutrients in each of them, why you should actually be eating them, and what you should maybe be avoiding, you know, like alcohol or caffeine. Some phases of your cycle, that's fine. Some phases, that might fuck you up. Just saying. And then I've started this, but I haven't finished. But this is my work in progress for the next week or so. We're going to create some little meal cards, sort of, you know, like snack plates, dinner ideas, things you could be drinking if you wanted to, just to make it more comprehensive and easy to digest, and just takes any kind of thought out of it. I know for me, the evenings go really fast, and having, you know, 5 or 6 different meals to choose from in my book, ready to go, no thought needed, just makes eating healthy a lot easier. So that's that. As I said, I am on, I think I'm in my luteal phase right now. I've guessed that I'm on day 12 of my luteal phase. Fingers crossed my period should be coming any day now. So I will update you on my progress, and if what I'm doing is working, if what I'm doing is really not working, and just anything I learn along the way. If you're interested in getting off birth control, which I hope you are, because there are so many benefits to having your natural cycle. Just, you know, like, to name one, ovulation is so important for your health. For example, Alicia Vitti says that regular natural ovulation can reduce your risk of heart disease and osteoporosis and a whole bunch of other nasties, that just by getting in tune with our bodies and literally letting it do what it is meant to do and what it does naturally can reduce your risk of all of these different diseases and ailments and illnesses. It just seems silly to not let our bodies do what they're designed to do, and in turn reduce our risk of diseases and illnesses. The fact that we're a society who's still on birth control and it's causing negative impacts to our long-term health is baffling. And I know that we, myself included, I was on it because I was sexually active and I didn't want to get pregnant, but it's actually not as hard as you think. Take it from me and all of the other hundreds and thousands of women on the internet talking about cycle syncing and how you can do it and how you can do it effectively. You know, it is, I think it's 98% effective, or like can go up to 99% effective with proper use. You know, tracking your discharge, tracking your temperature, your basal body temperature with a thermometer every single morning, knowing how many days are in each phase so you can work it out that way as well. You know, it is a really safe form of natural birth control. The fertility awareness method, FAM. It's not worth being on birth control just so you don't get pregnant. Obviously, there's loads of people who are on it for a variety of different reasons. Heavy periods, acne, PCOS, people get put on birth control, but you know, just don't think that it's the be all and end all. There is another way. It might not be suited to you, but maybe try it. Maybe birth control is for you, but it's just worth knowing that you have options. Okay, amazing. I will tune in with you next time. Hopefully that wasn't too rambly or awkward. I promise I'll get better at this. I'd love to see you next one, maybe. Bye. That's the spider.